Hello everyone, my name is Webweaver, and it's Look Who It Is. We're back again. This one was just a genuine eto, you know, this one was a genuine fix now? Okay, buddy, jeez, alright, I'm working on it, I'm working on it, we're gonna win, 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 it's Worm Arc, we're gonna win. I'm focused, I'm dialed, I will be a profitable asset to the company. Character exclusive, exquisite taste. It's Ico again, the redemption arc is here. We need to be locked in, we need to remember, we need to be locked in, second mystery, second enemy, and light source, and maybe knowledge. It's everything but dexterity, which is a little bit sad, because dexterity is our highest stat. But, listen, we're real, we're live, we're ballin'. Okay, now here's the part where we start to cry. Police station's like mandatory content, especially on Eh-Żhal and Misery Worm. What do we do? Can't get a weapon from the school, which is probably a good thing. Do we pray that we have Vigil? Is that just what we do? Do we pray that we have Vigil? Do we just pray that we have Vigil? Or God, even school scissors? Ugh, I don't want to think about that, because you gotta take Monument, right? You gotta take Monument. Are we literally just praying for Vigil and school scissors? Like, just anything to give me a weapon? Are we praying to just find a weapon? Because you gotta take Monument, too. Sure. Screw it. It's Look Who It Is. We're here. We got an empty bottle. This is really bad. Do I re-roll for Vigil? Am I allowed to do that? Can we get the, Can we get the World of Horror custodians to rule on that one? Okay, you know what? We're gonna do the, it's Look Who It Is. I'm actually gonna show you what this looks like, because I keep forgetting to do that. So, I guess, like, epilepsy warning? I don't really know much about epilepsy. I just know it's, like, when things flash on the screen, right? I'm super ignorant. So, you know, the screen is going to flash repeatedly very quickly. Okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like, alright? I'm going to show you what it looks like. So, just be wary, just be wary. It's going to look really weird, okay? Yeah, that's really bad. That's really bad. I'm going to probably censor that in post. But we saw Moriko like 3 times. That's really bad. I'll like, put an unedited version of that at the end, I guess. And you can just skip to the end after we die. If you want to see that. Like, it looks so bad, man. Did we get a mystery that I wanted? We did not. Oh, no, no, no. I mean, we're balling, yeah? Thaumaturgy teacher, let's do it. We do a little trolling, a little devious trolling. +2 for each spell, don't care. Actually, I do kind of care, because what are we going to use as a goddamn weapon? History Club? What do we got? +1 strength? I mean, we do need this. That's something that we can actively use. I don't mind that. This is not going to screw us with a Misery Parasite, right? Yeah, because we use it. And then we get owned. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. We ball. Never do the side quest for this one, by the way, because it's currently bugged. It's supposed to be that if you do the side quest, you do more damage, but it's actually the opposite. If you do the side quest, you apparently do less damage. I am so behind on World of Horror stuff, man. Like, brother and or sister, I don't, like, I don't keep up with World of Horror as much as you might assume I do. Like, there are games that I keep up with. Like, I keep up with Final Fantasy XIV. I'm keeping up with Lethal Company, because Lethal Company's great. I'm keeping up with, listen, this is the biggest cardinal sin I could ever commit, which is try to play another MMO. I'm looking into Guild Wars 2. I installed it. I'm looking into Guild Wars 2. The thing is, right, and I've had this conversation with a few friends before, and it's a topic that keeps coming up because we're in the content drought, right? But let her sleep, let her cook. I don't even know if this was like a dangerous location. We're just letting her cook because I don't want to wake her up. Because when I go to sleep, I don't want somebody to wake me up here, you know? I would be a little sad. How are we gonna win this? right? Like, we just don't have a weapon. But this has happened, like, a lot. You know, this has been a regular discourse for a while now. And I think that it's sort of, like, important. Yeah, we win these, obviously. No. Don't get greedy. Don't get greedy. You're gonna miss one of these 80% chances. So just sort of, like, live your life, brother and or sister. But basically, like, the thing about Final Fantasy XIV is great. Like, it's one of my favorite games of all time. I'm gonna be subbed to the game until the server's shut down. It's fantastic.
Well, we're terribly sorry. We've lost Emmerdale through some technical fault. We're trying to find the fault, and we will correct it as soon as we can and go back to Emmerdale as soon as we can. Until then, we'll play a little... I'm pleased to say we can rejoin Emmerdale.
Okay, we're back. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So here's the thing about Final Fantasy XIV, right? I love it. I'll be subbed to it the day I die. I want my friends to experience Final Fantasy XIV if possible. I will shill that game forever, right? The problem with Final Fantasy XIV is that it is not a normal MMO in any sense of the word, right? Like, it is not a normal MMO. It has, like, okay, if you want your friend to experience Final Fantasy XIV, they probably are going to want to play the game with you, right? Because that makes sense. It's an MMO, you want to play with your friends. But you sign them up for essentially, and this is only going to get longer as the more and more expansions keep dropping. I am in 100% belief that they're going to have to do something of, like, sort of like an alternate player start, where they, like, boost you to the end of Dawn Trail or something, or, like, the beginning of Dawn Trail. Because there is 10 years of content between your friend starting A Realm Reborn and you. Literally, 10 years of content. And so, when you put a friend in there, if they want to experience the story, if they want to follow your advice, which is enjoy the ride, enjoy Final Fantasy XIV at your own pace, you will not be seeing them in endgame relevant content for like 500 hours if they play casually, maybe even 600. I have a guy in my free company, love him, one of the first people who joined. He's still in all these couple years later. He joined the FC in A Realm Reborn. I think he is at the beginning of Stormblood now, over the course of 2 years, right? Because he's a casual player, he's got family, he's got kids, he's got stuff to do in his life. And he cares about the story, he likes the story, he enjoys the story. And so he's not going to skip that, because obviously that'd be insane if he did. And so, this is a guy that I've known for 2 years, and I have to basically, like, let him know that, like, hey, when you unlock something, let all of us know, right? Like, let all of us know, because, like, we need to be able to do something with you, right? Like, there is, like, how it works is you spend, like, 300, 400 hours in a single-player JRPG story that is only getting more single-player, by the way, where it's like you can solo every, like, I think you can solo every multiplayer instance in A Realm Reborn, right? And it's just like Heaven's Word is when you need to start doing trials with other people. I could be wrong. It's like, it's whenever they introduce 8-man, because I don't think the only 8-man trial is that can do trust is the Endwalker one, right? I'm pretty sure, because they put the A Realm Reborn ones down to 4 people, right? I could be, like, completely out of my goddamn mind, right? How am I gonna get a weapon? Is this just the kicking arc? I think this is just the kicking arc, honestly. What am I doing? Like, what in God's name am I doing here? I don't know. But, you know, like, you're putting your friend into a single-player JRPG that you then have to... And this is a thing that a lot of established players might not get, because I've interacted with a lot of sprouts through having a guild and trying to get my friends in the game, right? Your friends and your guild members do not want to bother you, because the idea to a normal gamer that you would ask a high-end, end-game player to come with you on a level 20 dungeon is insane. It's, like, borderline incomprehensible. People don't understand it, right? They're like, why would I bother you? That's like, holy shit, we got one. We got a weapon, gamers. We're winning. Like, that is so borderline incomprehensible to people that, like, they literally don't even get it, right? Like, they literally... Like, I have had to explain to Sprouts that it is okay to ask for, like, in the FC chat if people want to do dungeons. Because what ends up happening to a lot of people is if a Sprout joins your FC, they're going to just play through the MSQ, and because it's a single-player JRPG that they can do with bots if they want to, they're never going to invite you. They're never going to do it because they don't want to inconvenience you. And then they're like, well, I don't ever talk to anybody in the guild. And it's like, the fault is like partially your own, because I make sure to tell every single Sprout that joins, if you unlock something in the MSQ, we will do it with you. I will do it with you. You can ping me on Discord if you want to. I would be more than happy to. But nobody ever takes me up on that offer. Literally no one. Unless it's like one of the rare Sprouts that actually does. But it's like, I've probably recruited... There's probably been like 20, 30 Sprouts that join the FC. And the amount of people who take me up on that offer is like 2, 3, max. Easily. And so it is so crazy to me of how this game works. Because there is no... Like, you can't do the MSQ with your friends, right? Like, you can do it alongside them. You can hang out with them. But, like, you can't join them on the instances. You can't join them on the quests. You just can't do those things. Like, there is so much about Final Fantasy XIV's design that isolates new players. And the problem with that is that it's an MMO. It's supposed to be social, right? And so, when you get into a situation like this, what ends up happening is you don't have anybody to play with, and you're playing with bots, and then you can't find a community, and then it's like, eto... And the thing is, this is also a major problem with when expansions drop or when patches drop, because people don't, like, there are content droughts. Like, the developers lay out everything that they're going to do with the expansion before the expansion comes out. And that's not, like, cap, or however you would say it. That's not a lie. That's not a joke. They do. Before Dawn Trail comes out, we will know every single detail about the gameplay content in Dawn Trail. They'll keep the story a mystery, but there's going to be 6 zones, there's going to be 12 normal raids, there's going to be 3 alliance raids. I think they said they're going to be doing like a bonus progression zone like Eureka or whatever. But what I'm trying to say here is that we have so much information about how the game is going to work before it comes out that we like know what we're buying, which is actually really cool and one of the really neat things about the game, right? But what a lot of people, and this is the conversation my friends and I had, is that Final Fantasy XIV is never going to be the MMO that some of my friends want, okay? And the reason for that is because this is a solo JRPG that has content that is designed to get people to play the MSQ, because the MSQ is what people sub for, right? And so, when there are content droughts, people don't play the game, right? Your guild goes inactive, okay? And then, what ends up happening is, when there is new content, people are there for the MSQ update. And then maybe a little bit of the side content, and then they're done. And so, when you have people active, you can get people involved in group activities, but it doesn't really work. Because if you have, like, say, like, I think, like, what was it? Like, most people have, like, an hour or 2 to play games every day? At most? If you have, like, an hour to play video games, and you really like Final Fantasy XIV, okay? You really like Final Fantasy XIV, and a new patch comes out. So you get on, you update the game, you get on, you're excited to do the new patch. And then your guild members are like, hey, we're running some side content that doesn't progress the MSQ, and it's gonna eat into the hour that you have to play the game. What are you gonna do? You're gonna do the MSQ. And that's not wrong, right? But the thing is, a lot of my friends, and by a lot I mean like the couple that I've talked to, they really want like a social MMO with people working together. And that is not Final Fantasy XIV, unless you're doing very, very specific things, one of them being submarines, right? Because what Final Fantasy XIV does is it incentivizes you to do things that are solo activities, and then once every, like, 2 or 3 hours, you get the ability to play, like, a dungeon or a trial with your friends, right? And that's not wrong, that's not bad. I love Final Fantasy XIV. And, you know, I'm not intentionally trying to do the thing where you're like, I'm criticizing something that I like, so I have to do, like, 80 different, like, reaffirmations and confirmations about how much I love Final Fantasy XIV. Like, no, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that at all. I'm just genuinely speaking from the heart. Like, I do love the game. But it is not giving me that MMO social aspect that I want. Because there is... Oh, hell yeah. Like, I can make events happen with my guild, right? But, like, the content of Final Fantasy XIV, like the gameplay content of Final Fantasy XIV, everything that you do with other players is structured and planned in advance. It is very rare for me to get on... I think do we take the injury? No, we have sewing kit. We have sewing kit. We take these. We take these. That was really unlucky that we got like 80 million things here. Okay, hold on. I'm not dumb. 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 Like, so everything... Like, here's the thing. When you are in an MMO, right? What I want is I want things to be spontaneous and active, of like, I am playing the game, my guild members are playing the game, and then we immediately have content to run together that we are incentivized to do together. That does not really exist in Final Fantasy XIV spontaneously, sporadically. It exists planned, calculated, right? Running raids, and that's what I'm planning to do for Dawn Trail, is to massively push Savage raiding in my FC, because the people in my FC are really nice. They want to get into Savage raiding. They're worried about toxicity. They can raid together, all right? I am planning to sort people based on their expectations with raiding. I am planning to try to have like 2 to 3 FC statics going at the same time with specific goals that they have to reach, not in like a toxic way, but in like a, this is sort of like the expectation that I have, and if you don't meet that expectation, that doesn't mean you can't Savage raid, but it means that you're in a situation where you're sort of like, it's pitted against you, if that makes sense, right? Because I haven't, you probably might have guessed because I haven't talked about it in a very long time, but the original FC static that I ran, it didn't last very long, and I had to break it up. Everybody who was involved, well, not everybody, is still in the free company, and there was a little bit of drama surrounding it. Nothing, like, about the dissolution, nothing too serious, because everybody who was there for that is still in the FC and still on good terms with each other. But the problem is, and one of the things that I learned that's very important, is that you have people who want to do Savage raiding, but they do not have the drive to actually do it outside of, like, not even the bare minimum, right? But they say they want to do it, they show up, they reaffirm they want to do it, and they'll practice, but, like, their heart's not in it, you know what I mean? So they're basically, like, lying to themselves is the way that I choose to look at it, and they really don't want a Savage raid, and then the moment, like, you say, like, alright, we're done, they're like, no, you can't end the Savage static, this is so important to me, and then it's like, I've put so much work and effort into Savage, I have to continue, we have to continue, and then you stop raiding, or the static stops raiding, and then those two, I'm calling specific people out here, that's brazy, like, the two people that I'm thinking of, they never touched Savage ever again, and the people who were, like, the other people in the static were like, oh, hell yeah, we can now do Savage on our own, and we don't have to worry about weekly clear restrictions? Oh, hell yeah, and then they go off, and then, you know, they clear the tier, right? So, it's like, you need to have expectations and groups set up, and I didn't mean for the anecdote to become this, so we're probably gonna, like, do a hard pivot. You know, like, everybody who is in the static at the end, you know, I love them all, right? They're, like, I don't have any ill will towards them, but it's like, they just did not have, like, they had the mechanical skill if they tried, right? Like, does that make sense? Like, they just weren't trying. They had given up. You know, you're Gordon Ramsay, you walk into the Kitchen Nightmares restaurant, you say, wake up, you donkey, and then they don't wake up, and then you're like, okay, you've given up. You give them the heart-to-heart speech, they prove to themselves that they can do it, but then the restaurant goes out of business 6 months later, right? So, you know, that's just sort of how it goes. And so what I've learned from that is that when you're setting up something like an FC static, is that you need to have clear expectations going in, and if people don't meet those expectations, they need to know to bow out gracefully and maybe try to go for like the more casual FC static if we make one of those, or they go for Party Finder, you know, or they prove that they can do it, just something, you know, just anything really. Yeah, we'll do ramen last. Ramen's easy. Oh boy. Oh, that's great. I love EXP rounded down. That's fantastic. But yeah, no, it's just like going back to the sort of point that I was originally trying to make earlier, is that when you... Oh, we gotta get Frostbite cured. That's right. That's real. Oh, shoot, that's real. We're running away. We run these. We have a small candle. That's what we should be doing more often, honestly. So, here's the deal, right? When you have, like... I guess what I'm looking for is almost sort of like the spontaneousness of like what people describe as like WoW Classic or like Is it Ever? What is it? Adventure Quest? EverQuest? The really old one where you have to sit down between fights, and the whole point of that was so that you could chat with the people you were playing with. Like, I kind of want something like that, where it's like you have things to do with people and it's more spontaneous. Like when you log on, you're not like, okay, what am I doing? Or, oh, I have something scheduled with other people today. It's like, I am doing something. Is there anyone else doing that same thing? I want to do it with them. And I don't think, like, this might be a controversial opinion, because I think Final Fantasy XIV does have some elements of that. And there's definitely some elements of that I've seen in my guild. But it's like, the difference is, I want a game where if I don't have, like, somebody to work with, I lose, right? Does that make sense? Because in Final Fantasy XIV, I don't, like, other people make things easier, and by God, they make things a lot easier. But, like, you don't, when I log on into Final Fantasy XIV, I don't need to talk to anybody. And I don't need to hang out with anybody. I want to, and that's why I do it. But, like, there's nothing in the game that, like, draws players together unless it's something that you've already pre-planned, like a Savage Raid. And again, that's why I'm going to try to lean so hard into Savage Raiding. Because Savage Raiding, big misconception, it's mid-core content, and anyone can do it if they want to try to do it, right? The important parts to manage there is the expectations of the group and the, like, well, the expectations of the group, and then also, like, the sort of the reaffirmment that, like, hey, if you're starting to take this, like, if it's starting to get toxic, if you're starting to like your guildmates less, like, just cut it off immediately. Like, you gotta be, like, you cannot have an ego about Savage Raiding, and if you don't have an ego about Savage Raiding, you're gonna have a lot better of a time, right? Okay, we need to do thing. Honestly, we can just get rid of this stuff during the fight, right? Or, like, after the fight? Are we gonna take the burn? We're taking the burn, dude. We're taking the burn. Just get this shit out of here. Oh my god, we have 83 EXP. No, we have to win the fight. We have to win the fight. We have to win the fight, because if we don't win the fight, you know what happens? Guess what happens? We take 80 million Doom. For fun? Oh, for fun. Yeah. Minus reason. We don't care about that. Okay. We fight these. We fight these, chat. We fight these. We fight these, chat. We fight these. Okay, so we're throwing the bottle of sludge at them 100%. And we're probably using the sewing kit, too. But actually, think about it for a second there. I coulda dunked on him, I think. And then we guarantee that he's dead here. Real and true. But yeah, no, I just, like, when you play Final Fantasy XIV, and again, it's a fantastic game. And again, I'm doing the thing. I'm doing the thing where I have to, like, preempt it. Okay. So, get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Level up. We level these. We level these. We take a little quick thinking as a treat, and we'll take a little... Do we have folklore studies? We do not. Alright, so we take knowledge. Are we good? Are we good? Misery worm? Misery worm? Can I get an LZL check? 0% Doom. Would you look at that? He's beginning to believe. He's starting to believe. We'll still throw at the end. Don't worry about it. Because I forgot my second enemy. We'll find a way. We'll find a way. Don't worry about it. But yeah, no, like, the thing is, when you have limited time to play the game, you're going to get on and you're going to do your solo objective. And people have to, like, actively try to play together. Because there's nothing in Final Fantasy XIV outside of, like, things that you would schedule where, or things that, like, require a significant time investment that you might not have, right? Like, I guess what I'm saying is that, like, I want a more social experience where, like, the game design is around it. Because the MSQ is not around being social, okay? If you, like, I think that's probably, like, the only Final Fantasy XIV take that I would, like, vehemently disagree with, is the idea that Final Fantasy XIV's MSQ is a social experience. Because, like, it's a social experience in the sense of, like, you have stuff to talk about with your friends. But, like, when Endwalker dropped, my friend and I, we were just sitting in VC deafened, and we would undeafen but be muted when we unlocked a dungeon. Right? Like, does that make sense? I mean, that does get us there. And it was great, right? It was great. Like, playing Endwalker with my friend, playing the launch of Endwalker in early access with her was, like, one of the best experiences I've had in a game in a while, right? It was super fun. But the thing is, like, the only time we would do anything is when we unlocked a dungeon, or when we unlocked a raid or whatever, right? And so, it's important, to me anyways, to try to get some sort of, like, social experience. And the thing is, I feel like I want to play a game where that social experience is designed into the gameplay, while in Final Fantasy XIV, you have to go out of your way to make that social experience. Which, I mean, you always do, right? Like, you always have to go out of your way to, like, find people and to, like, you know... Like, you always have to go out of your way to find people. You always have to go out of your way to... can we just, like, BM here? Is this possible? I forgot if this was possible. This is worth it, right? Oh, hell yeah. We love cheese. But yeah, no, it's just, like... I feel like there are some elements of Final Fantasy XIV's game design that are antithetical to trying to, like, have a social experience. And it's up to the player, specifically, to make that social experience. And I don't think that there's anything implicitly wrong with that. It's just, like, I want a game that encourages me to be social, if that makes sense. And so, I don't feel that way with Final Fantasy XIV. Like, I have my friends who play Final Fantasy... Oh, shoot. I think I just threw. Do we throw these? I think we throw these. Oh, no. Listen, I told you I'd find a way to throw. Let me look at how bad it's gonna be. Oh, my God. Why is it so bad? 14 is nuts, man. I think we just lose. We just lose these. Oh, my God. I mean, what do you even... If we got time skip there, it's legitimately over. Is this really just gonna come down to another goddamn... I cannot believe I didn't play around that, man. I should have dumped all my freaking EXP into the hell pit that is the police station. I really am throwing the game on this? No way. But anyways, yeah, I just think that, like, Final Fantasy XIV... I have to make it give me what I want when it comes to, like, guild leading. And maybe that's every game, but, like, I feel like other games do it a little bit better, right? Does that make sense? That might make a little bit of sense. That might make no sense whatsoever. Okay, second mystery. We did, oh, god damn it. Freaky feature? Oh, we win these, chat, we win these. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. But yeah, no, I just think that, oh boy. No way. No way it was Shiakawa's school's second enemy. That's crazy. That's wild. I mean, we did it. We absolutely did it. I gotta do some edits on this episode. Which is unfortunate because I did forget to sleep tonight. But that's okay, that's fine. I'll try to wrap it up as eloquently as I possibly can, but I probably won't be able to. We take a dub on the worm arc, by the way. You love to see it. So here's the deal, right? And you know what? I'm gonna actually save myself some time and energy, okay? I'm not gonna edit it in. I'm gonna edit the other one out. And then we're just gonna do it now, okay? We're just gonna do it now. So we're gonna continue talking about this, and then after we're done with the anecdote, we're gonna hit you with the epilepsy warning, and then we're gonna, we're gonna hit you with the epilepsy warning, and then we're gonna bow out. So here's the deal, right? From what I've heard of other MMOs, the idea is to just generally kind of like be social, to like have a guild and to do activities with that guild. And Final Fantasy XIV, that's the same thing. But I feel like it's more challenging because in order to do activities with your guild, they need to be endgame activities because that's what's relevant and that's what people are doing. And I also believe that in order to do activities with your guild, you have to like actively try to get people, because if you have a limited amount of time, then what ends up happening is, well, you're going to want to do the MSQ. You're going to want to do Dawn Trail, right? When Dawn Trail comes out, what are you going to want to do? Are you going to want to play mini games with your guild and chat in the FC house? Or are you going to want to do the MSQ? Everybody's going to want to do the MSQ, right? Chatting in the FC house is in between play sessions. It's at the end of the MSQ, right? And so after that, though, we go to the patches. And then the patches are going to be like 5-6 months apart, right? Well, more like 4 to 5 months apart, right? And so what you end up getting is people go play other games, which is completely fine and completely normal, but it's a little bit awkward for somebody who started a guild. And then you throw any sprouts into the mix here, and it's like, what do you even do to that? It's like everybody's on the new hotness, that's Dawn Trail, and your ass is in Heavensward. It's like, Heavensward's fantastic. Nobody's gonna tell you Heavensward's bad, except for somebody who's like trying to be a contrarian, you know? But, until you're not gonna be able to see all the cool Dawn Trail stuff until you play another like 400, 500 hours. God help you if you're doing like side quest stuff, right? You're doing the optional stuff. You're enjoying the journey, the experience. And here's the thing, what's really messed up, right, is I love the Endwalker. I love Pandemonium. The normal raids for Pandemonium are fantastic. The Savage raids for Pandemonium are fantastic. The only other Savage raids I've done were like the Eden ones, like the ones to unlock the ultimates, and they were okay. But I didn't do them when they were current. I didn't learn them when they were new or like relevant, you know, when I was like progging to get eye level, right? So Pandemonium is my first like real raid tier, right? Started playing in Shadowbringers. And I didn't make it to the... But the thing is, I started playing in Shadowbringers, but that's not true, right? Because, yeah, I started in Shadowbringers, but I didn't make it to be continued until 2 weeks out from Endwalker, right? So, it's like, all of the cool stuff that I've told... Because, like, we have sprouts in the FC, and then they ask about what we're doing, and then we tell them about what we're doing. We're raiding, we're learning Savage mechanics. This mechanic's really cool, this fight's pretty bad, this fight's really good, right? They're never going to experience that. They're like, the sprouts who joined my guild when Endwalker came out are statistically probably never going to do the Savage raids. And because they're not relevant, they're only going to do them if they, for some reason, want the glamour, or want the mounts, or want the ultimate raids, right? But ultimate raiding is really niche. Mount collecting's pretty niche too. And the glamour, some people are dedicated for the glamour, right? But here's the thing. They're only going to do the specific fights for whatever their interest is, right? If it's mounts or ultimates, they're going to do the final fights. And they're not going to be able to do Athena either, because there's no... Is there an ultimate unlocked behind Athena? I don't think it is, right? Because it's 4 and 8. So... It's sad, right? Because it's like any sprout that's asking you all the cool shit that you're doing in Endwalker... By the time they catch up, unless they, like, really have a lot of free time and they can degen the game from, like, beginning to end in, like, a couple months, 3 months, 4 months, right? Unless they can do that, they are not going to, in any way, ever experience the stuff that we experience with Endwalker, right? And the reason why I know this is because I've had to go out of my way to try to experience some of the old stuff in Shadowbringers and Stormblood and Heavensward. And then also, when you're experiencing this old stuff, you know what? People are gonna want to. They're gonna want to unsync it. They're not gonna want to do min eye level P8S. Are you crazy? Right? And so it's like, I would love to show Sprouts in my FC like the Savage Pandemonium fights, but we wouldn't be doing them synced with eye level, right? We'd be doing them unsynced. We'd be doing them at a level 100, right? And I think that's the thing, right? Is that now that I've started playing the game, I'm going to experience every raid tier, and I'm going to be very happy, right? Because the raid tiers are great, the raids are fun, the raids are awesome. But the problem is that even though the content is evergreen, if you want to do it, it's like, first of all, that wanting to do old content in itself is pretty rare, right? Not a lot of people that I know are interested in it. But also then running it at eye level sync is still like, not a lot of people are interested in that. And you could be spending all this time and energy doing something that's currently relevant, right? So it's just this really weird... I've been rambling about Final Fantasy XIV way too long. Listen, you know the FF14 anecdotes. They're real. They're here. And I guess that's a good thing that we were able to do one of those while we were doing the Worm Arc. So we're making progress. I'm going to cut it off here because I've rambled way too goddamn long. And so I'll just show you what it looks like. Epilepsy warning. You got all the time in the world to click off this video. I'll put up a warning in the description as well, at the top of the description. And I'll just show you what it looks like, right? So if you're clicking pretty slowly, this is what it looks like. That's awful, right? Like, that's pretty horrible. But what if we clicked it even faster? Like, look at that. Like, I sometimes click it this fast. And that's really bad, right? How do you tell when Moriko's there? It's very simple. There's a circle. There's two of them that have circles, right? There is the... Okay, it's this one, right? The Demolitional Inner-City Shrine has the Mothman or whatever. This circle is small and on the left. And when you see Moriko, wherever she is... She'll show up eventually. She always does. Moriko's circle is bigger and to the right. So that's how I tell when I'm clicking through so fast. So see, like, it's significantly bigger. Like, look, this circle is massive and it's to the right. So when you're spamming through it, you can just, like, kind of look like, okay, the circle... If you see a circle, if it's on the left side, then it's the shrine. If it's on the right side, it's Moriko. So there you go. Epilepsy warning over. I'm not gonna hit the button anymore. So yeah, that's just how it do. That's just how it be. And so I'm sort of using Guild Wars 2 as copium right now, because when Dawn Trail launches, I fully intend to try to get as many people in the static, or not the static, sorry, the FC as possible into Savage Raiding. Like, that is what I fully intend to do. And I intend to set goals. I intend to set, like, specific things where it's like, this is what everybody needs to be doing, and if you're not doing this, you need to gracefully bow out. Because there are going to be people who like the idea of Savage Raiding, they try it, and they want to do it, they think they want to do it, but they just don't have that dog in them. And I think, and here's the thing about Savage Raiding, okay? I'm gonna end it with this. Anyone can have that dog in them, and anyone can Savage Raid. Anybody who tells you that you're not ready for Savage, or you can't do Savage because you're too bad at the game, you can. The thing is, though, you just have to practice. And that doesn't mean just practicing the fight. That means practicing your job. You have to get into a situation where you know your job to a, not a good level, just a basic level. You have to be able to basically play your job. You have to play your job at a basic level. And then you need to be able to play your job at a basic level and do mechanics at the same time. That's it. That's all you have to do. And if you do that, you can clear every fight in Pandemonium Savage at, like, you know, normal eye level for around the time the fight came out. Like, not min eye level. If you're trying to do min eye level stuff, you need to be a little bit better than that. But, like, all you have to do, hello dog, dog moment, all you have to do is just be, like, just have a basic understanding of the game. That is it. The bar is that low. You can do it. You absolutely can. You're gonna feel like shit because it feels bad to wipe or be the reason why 7 other people die and have their progress reset. But, like, everybody has to learn at some point. And it is a significant portion of the game's content and is a significant portion of the reason why I log on to the game, right? Savage raiding is really fun. And it's very rewarding. And it's a great, like, way to get, like, a group of people to play with. It's just that you have to be willing to put the basic level of effort into your job and the basic level of effort into learning the fight. If you can do those two things, you could have, if you haven't tried already, to clear every Pandemonium Savage fight from 1 to 12. You can absolutely do that. Because at the end of the day, the Savage fights are, like, when you first do a Savage fight, it is insanely complicated. How could anybody ever do this? How could you be expected to do this? It's way too hard. But once you break it down step by step, and you get the movement down, and you see people who play your job clear it, and you see the abilities that they use, and you see how structured everything is to where it nicely fits into place one thing after another, to where it doesn't feel awkward. None of the fights feel awkward, except for P7S. P7S can go die in a fire. Whenever you have something like that, right? It feels chaotic the first time you do it. It feels manageable the second time you do it. And then the third, fourth, and fifth time you do it, you've got it on lock. Because you can do it. You can do it. Savage is not impossible. It is mid-core content. If I can do it, you can do it. It's a fun activity if you play with people who don't have a massive ego. And you just have to be willing to put that, like, very basic level in. And some people, and this is why it's important to have these expectations, like, just set from the very beginning, is that if somebody is trying, they will exceed these expectations and continue savage raiding. It is for people who have given up and do not care exclusively, but, like, have an investment in it so they keep showing up, you know? It's important to weed those people out because they're not going to let the rest of the group go on. Because that's the problem that I made, right? Like, just doing a real talk here, is we had 2 people who they made an investment into it and they wanted to do it, but they couldn't do it. And it's not that they couldn't physically or mentally do it. It's that they didn't want to. They said that they wanted to vocally, but all of the actions that they took told me that they didn't want to do it. But everybody wanted to give them chances, and I wanted to give them chances too. So we did, and it's the reason why the FC static didn't make it past P10S. It's because we had 2 people who just, you know, in the words of Gordon Ramsay, you've given up. You donkey? I was about to say another F word, but I don't want to bleep it again. So it's like, you just have to make sure that people who have that attitude of, like, I'm showing up, I'm investing time, I'm gonna clear, but they don't actually, like, put in, like, if they, here's the thing, if those 2 ever see this video, right, you both are good enough to clear Savage. It's just that when we were running it, you didn't give a damn. You can say that you did, you can get mad at me for saying that, but you didn't. Because everybody else gave a damn, and I could see that, like, visually and statistically. But I couldn't see that with either of you, right? And so that's why it had to be called, right? I mean, there was a bunch of other stuff too, right? There was a bunch of other stuff too, but it was mostly, like, the bunch of other stuff was I stopped having fun. But for the health of the raid group, because I'm going to be trying to make more FC statics, is that if people with that attitude show up, where they're like, okay, this is how I feel about it, you've gotta let them just, like, you've gotta let people know from the very beginning that if you don't want to savage raid, and it's clearly obvious to anybody with savage raiding experience that you don't want to savage raid, but you're just there for some reason, like, you gotta bow out. Like, you gotta just gracefully bow out, no hard feelings, like, it is what it is. And I think that's the thing that I'm worried about the most, is just, like, people's egos getting in the way because they're like, oh, I wasn't good enough for this static. It's like, no, you were good enough for this static, you just didn't care, right? Like, that's it. Like, both of the people who I am, like, vague referring to right now are competent enough to clear the entire Savage tier. It's just that they didn't care, right? And so I don't know why I'm ranting at this at 8 in the morning, but we are. This is gonna be a great day for me specifically. But like, I love them both. I love them both. They're fun people to be around. It's just that they did not have. They had what it took. They just never took it. You know what I mean? Like, they had all the tools in the kingdom. They had the keys to the kingdom, but they never unlocked the door. They left the door locked. They knocked on the door and then got upset that the door didn't automatically open for them. Right? And so you've got to keep a watch out. If you're starting a static, this is the most invaluable advice that I can give you, is that if people are not meeting your expectations, just ask them to bow out, and if they don't bow out, kick them out. Because the problem is that you have to have people who want to do Savage. I know, that's crazy, right? And so if somebody doesn't want to do Savage, but for some reason they keep showing up, even if they say they want to do Savage, it's like, again, as far as skill is concerned, you can do it. Without a doubt in my mind, anybody watching this right now, you could do Savage if you wanted to. It's genuinely not that hard. It's a lot of things to keep track of. You're going to make a lot of stupid mistakes. You're going to wipe your group dozens, hundreds of times, depending on how long you stay with that group. But it's fine. Who cares? That's the whole point of the thing. Like, it's a game mode where one person makes a mistake, 7 people die. You're going to make mistakes. You're human. That's normal. It would be weird if you didn't make mistakes. But you have to want it, right? Because it is a serious enough game mode that you need to actually try. And if you actually try, you will succeed. Because I can do it. And I'm horrible at the game. If I can do it, you can do it. You're gonna have a rough start. You're gonna feel really awkward. You're gonna be like, oh, I can't believe I wiped the group again. Who cares? It doesn't matter. You're fine. Right? Like, you just have to want it. Like, you just have to look at you just have to think to yourself, I want to clear the Savage fight. And if you have that genuine passion of like, I want to clear the Savage fight, you'll do it easily. Well, not easily, it's gonna be hell. But after you get used to it, you'll be able to do it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Anyways, stay safe out there. Have a good one. Bye. Anybody can do Savage. It's just, again, you have to want it. You're given the keys to the kingdom. You got to unlock the door yourself. We can't turn the handle for you. You have to turn the handle. You control the buttons that you press. You know what I'm saying? And so that's my biggest concern and fear with trying to start a bunch of FC statics, is that there's going to be people who, quote unquote, want to do it, but then they just don't do it, you know? They can do it, they just don't. And, you know, I'm not gonna try to, like, psychoanalyze or be like, I know why. I have no idea. Everybody's got their own mental, you know? And they gotta take care of themselves, and they gotta do what's right for them. There's absolutely no shade being thrown there, right? People do what they gotta do, you know? And so, it's very important to me that if your mental is being messed up by Savage rating, that you stop immediately. That's another thing that I'm worried about, is people being like, okay, I like Savage rating with this group. I want them to succeed, and I can do it. So I'm gonna do it, but then I'm really stressed about it, and I don't want to log on to Final Fantasy XIV because I'm really stressed about Savage rating. Then in that case, you also have to stop, right? So you're really looking out for two kinds of people. The kinds of people who get stressed about it, and they just want to, like, you know, get it done, clear it, but like in an unhealthy way. And then people who say that they want to do it, you give them the keys to the kingdom, and they're like, you know. And then there's also just people who, like, I don't know, just want to troll, but I haven't really encountered something like that yet. I imagine, though, that that's the easiest situation to deal with, is where somebody just doesn't give a shit, and you're like, you don't give a shit, and they're like, yeah, I don't give a shit, and you just kick them out, you know, that sort of thing. Anyways, I've rambled on way too long. Thanks for watching. Bye.